All right, here we go. Heroes Unlimited. This is where SDC shines. Okay, this is where SDC is the first time it's appropriate in a Palladium game, because these are all heroes and villains. These are all superheroes and super villains. They should be tougher. They should be stronger. They should be able to take more damage, and everything should be, greater than you could possibly, imagine such type stuff. So I get it. SDC shines here. And what I like about it is that the book doesn't make you play a hero, but it's like, dude, you're playing Heroes Unlimited. Not, I'm an angsty goth bitch Unlimited. So the book, every time it says, well, you could play you could play a non-good character, but you shouldn't. Every time it's like, you shouldn't. That's how it goes. And you shouldn't. Stop it. I mean, I would have gone further and said, no, you are choosing one of the, you cannot choose an evil alignment. You can't, because you're playing Heroes Unlimited.
Heroes Unlimited went so far with that as creating the Villains Unlimited book.
Yeah, you have a Villains Unlimited book. You want to play a villain? Get that book, dummy. Stop it. Okay, so what we're introduced now to a new thing: superpowers, super abilities. Now, this is magic with unlimited PPE, psionics with unlimited ISP, but it's not. It feels different. I mean, if you want to strip away all of the fluff and circumstance and all that stuff, you could say, well, it's just the same as magic and psionics, just, it works the same, right? You could say that, and you might be right, but it feels so different that it's its own category. And you can do so much stuff. It's much more, it's just as powerful as magic, but as versatile as psionics, because you can play a lot more inside your power. For for all the APS powers, it gives you like, oh, I've turned to stone. I have a big armor and big SDC. I'm hard to kill. But there's lots of other nuance to that. You can also exist in space for a while. You also have only half speed. You can't swim. You sink. You heat up at a different rate than a normal person, so you're a little bit resistant to heat and fire. More so if you're metal. If again APS metal, if you turn to a giant metal thing, you don't have a human heat signature. You have the heat of your environment. So you have thermographic invisibility. Stuff like that. Each power has things like that, benefits and drawbacks that are inherent to the power that you can take advantage of as a player and get more out of your power, which is great. I love it. And the world building here, while not as expansive as Palladium Fantasy, is still there. But instead of dealing with gods and demons and stuff like that, they deal with superhero groups and supervillain groups.
Well, the good news is you don't need a lot of crazy world building, because it's just kind of modern world.
Yeah, it's modern world. You don't need that, but you have, your Justice League and Legion of Doom equivalents, and you have the mid-tier and lower tier groups, like Great Lakes Avengers would be the, lower tier group, stuff like that. But and you as a character can rise through the ranks of these things. So if you want to make a more social campaign where it's, ladder climbing, then you can do that too. If you want to start off with your own team and build your team up from low tier, mid tier to high tier, you can do that too. If you want to be a lone wolf, you can do that too. There is a lot of gameplay to be had. And since you're in a modern now type world, and you can use maps and stuff like that from, your own city, if you want, the game master doesn't have to build all these hex maps or tiles or whatever. He can just pull out a map and say, here, there it is. And that means the game master can devote time to, building the backstory of your main bad guy or some of his lieutenants or whatever. Go back into story building because the world building is done because you can just say it's your world and be done with it. But I think that it is at the very most a lateral move from Palladium Fantasy. Going from fantasy to this it doesn't feel like there's a whole lot of forward momentum, new ground. I mean, sure, the whole superpowers thing is a new thing and it does work and it is neat, but Magic lateral, Psionics was lateral. Uh, the game system was the same. SDC is very overblown, but it's a superhero campaign. I get it. That's fine. I'm cool with that. But there isn't a whole lot of new world building stuff that Palladium Fantasy gave. So while I'm gonna have to give it 3 stars, I can't give it 3.5. I have to give it 3 stars because SDC really, really works here first. The first time it really works and makes sense is here. But everything else was a lateral move in terms of scope and gameplay.
The biggest thing, my biggest takeaway from Heroes Unlimited Second Edition is, I have to preface this. Many of you guys know this already, but I've got to say this for folks who watch it on video later. I don't like comic books. No, I don't care about comic books.
No, he doesn't.
Not interested in them. I think spandex wearing weirdos just doesn't make sense to me, which Heathen Dog and I will flip when it comes to After the Bomb. But it's not my genre, not my thing. So it might surprise you that if we're going to go on a rating of 1 to 5, that I give this 4 stars.
Yes. Shocking.
The reason is there are a couple of things about this. First of all, Heroes Unlimited, even back in the edition that I played, which was revised, included a lot of what's now in After the Bomb, right? Like it had the genetic animals. I know you say they don't fit, and that's fine, but I'm just saying, so a lot of what's in here was meant to be in old TMNT / After the Bomb. So there's a lot of, cross-referencing. So I did utilize this book a bit. If there's one thing about Heroes Unlimited that I find just fantastically done, it is how each and every of the, what are the classes called in this game? I forget the term for it. Special powers, specialties.
Oh,
I could scroll here. Hold on.
Yeah, you scroll. You can do it. Yeah,
they're called.
They're not OCCs. They're
for instance, education skills, super abilities in combat. What the hell? Did I pass it? Hardware mechanic. Okay, power categories. Power categories.
There you go.
There you go.
Yeah,
absolutely.
It went away from OCCs. Yep.
Unique. Loved them. If you're playing a hardware character, you roll your stuff up differently. You're thinking different things. You get money different. Everything about what you do is unique. Almost like it's its own. I wouldn't call it. We'll call it mini game system. It's definitely its own subsystem. So I'm building something as my hardware character. I'm rolling things as my alien. And you can watch their videos where, Heathen Dog and I have a little bit of difference, but we generally agree on how much of that you roll and how much of that you just, you pick. But your mutations, all that, each one is interesting in its own way. And you can definitely find the niche that you want to fit into. I know I'm missing the magic, it's not a techno wizard. What the hell is it called? The item focus, whatever it is, character.
The magical enhanced, magical item enhanced character. I forget what it is.
And so if we look at here, we've got, power categories. You got electro genius. Now this is all under the hardware power category. Mechanical genius, analytic genius that we talked about. I don't care about the mega hero. Don't care about the animals either, because we'll talk about that in a bit. Robot assault vehicle combat. If you want to be a pilot, you've got all these different things you can do. So you can play your Iron Mans, your low tier Iron Mans, your low tier Supermans. So but I find that amazing. I love how each one of those power categories is distinct, has a feel, but still dang near unlimited in what you can do with it.
And they all fit together.
Other thing that I love about this game, again, understanding that I don't like superheroes, okay, is the fact that you're not Superman. Oh, you can build a character. What did you made a guy like 400 SDC or something like that? You can make a character that is dang tough. Don't get me wrong. You can absolutely be running, as he said, walking through walls, lifting jets and throwing them at people and so forth. But you're not invulnerable to literally everything on the planet. You can get whittled down. And a good game master is going to let that happen to you. So, yes, there are powers there, but they're not so over the top that they become ungainly, or I don't want to use comical because that's the genre. Just use my term, clown shoes. You're just like, oh yeah, okay, yep, you've got this. Oh yep, you've got that.
No, you
Okay,
win.
you win. Yep. No, even I think Heathen Dog even showed how even with altered physical structure, stone, and whatever other invulnerability, there are still ways around that. Magic, psionics, yada yada, right? So anyway, I love how all that works together. I really do. The drawback for me is that this game has two things that I'm definitely not a fan of.
What's that?
And I know that people are going to argue with me, at least on one of them. I despise the Mega Hero. Just rip it out. It's not needed. It's not appropriate. I didn't like any aspect of the Mega Hero.
It was necessary. No, it was necessary because Kevin had to explain the existence of the main hero in his world and the main villain in his world. Now, he made the Mega Hero not choosable by the player. The player cannot choose Mega Hero. It must be done by the DM or the GM. Sorry. It must be bestowed by the GM. It cannot be chosen. You can't roll it anywhere. You can't do anything. The GM has full control on whether it exists or not. And it's very clear in the book. It's the only time where a player is told, no, bitch, you cannot. Under no circumstances can you choose this.
Okay.
And as far as, it's necessary evil type thing, that's the way to go.
Okay. I'm not disagreeing with you. I mean, I know I'm saying that people are going to be like, oh, Max doesn't agree. No, I get what he's saying. I makes sense. The other thing I don't like, and this might be surprising, and I want to like this. I want this to be an aspect that I thoroughly enjoy because I used it a lot. Believe it or not, I don't like the education system.
Really?
Here's why. I never see it used properly. Mysteriously, every player at the table is a PhD.
Well, see, that's because people have the dumbass thing. We're like, oh, roll up your characters and bring it in. Never do that. Players can never be fully trusted. Players can never be. I'm saying again, you're a player. You can never be fully trusted. You roll your character in front of me. That's it. That's how it goes.
Now Heathen Dog says that, and I was in games of Heroes Unlimited where the game master is like, "Oh, re-roll that. I don't like that."
What?
What are you talking about? Like, why? No. Like, I when I ran TMNT, it's weird how many ninjas got rolled. If I remember correctly, that was like a 98 to 100 or some really high like that you had to go, how did all these ninjas get in here? Or PhDs? Because, let's be honest, the benefit that a PhD gets over, say, an associate's degree in the game is game changing. 2 skill programs versus 4 skill programs. Those 2 skill programs with like, was it a plus 10%, plus 5?
That's an extra almost dozen skills.
Yeah.
Depending on what programs you take.
I gotta say this, I want to like it because I love that kind of randomness and I love that kind of background in a game. But when you've got 4 program skills with plus 20% bonus versus 2 program skills with a 5% bonus, and I'm making up the numbers, I don't remember what they're off the top of my head. I can see why people were cheating. Okay,
Well, here's the thing. This is what I do with that. In my mind, I'm like, okay, you have the greatest gun ever made. It's one-handed. It automatically kills everyone with one shot, and it never needs to be reloaded. It's awesome.
Okay.
But without proper supervision, it'll destroy your life. That's a, you know, an exaggerated version of the education system in Heroes Unlimited. That's an exaggerated idea where if
You need head
if you're not
patting guidance.
yeah, if you're not careful, you know, watching your children, which are the players, they're just going to grab the gun and shoot themselves in the face, or you. That's when everyone has a PhD.
See, now the flip side to that is, and this is again something that he promoted more than me, but I get why, is you can pick those things. You know what? I want to play the super genius. What's he name? The X-Men, the blue hairy guy's name that's supposed to be really smart?
Beast.
Beast, okay. Something like that, where the dude is absolutely okay. You've got your PhDs. That makes sense. That's your background. So I do like that in there that you can pick it. But just understand that if you're playing in a group of 4 or 5, you know, other players, and one person rolls up high school diploma and the other person rolls up PhD, you are going to have different experiences and different capabilities in the game. And one of them, if those powers don't back up somehow what he can do, he's going to feel cheated in the game. Imagine this, and this will be the last thing that I talk about, because I want to segue into the powers. I love the power system in this game. Imagine this, though. I rolled, was it 1 major and 3 minor powers and a PhD. This guy over here got 5 minor powers and an associate's degree.
Hey, 5 minor powers is no joke.
Well, fair, especially since the minor powers usually are just more niche than the major powers. Major powers usually more general.
Just as powerful, just not as expansive in scope.
Right. Yeah. But you get what I'm saying. Like if all of a sudden, like, that guy can do more than me, and he's got more skills than me. The F is the point of my character being here. Of course, I'm doing edge cases. Because good role players aren't going to have that problem, because you're going to be making the characters at the table. You're going to be talking about the things that you have, and you're going to synergize. So it isn't going to matter. So, and then that goes in the powers. And finally, the power system. Now, I know there are books on powers that I don't have. I think they generally cover everything that you would want to do, but not in pure, I explode your face.
Right.
You know, if you can throw a fireball, actually at the start of the game, your fireball does less damage than a bullet.
Yeah.
But it's going to grow into a hell of a lot more than the bullet. You just got to grow with it. And I love that growth.
If you burn a major power, you can get energy expulsion that starts off at 3d6, which is the same as a bullet.
Same as a bullet, okay.
Yeah, but the minor energy expulsion is 1d6. It's crazy.
But it grows, and it grows with you. So
every level, it gets another d6.
And I think that's a good thing, because it shows the growth of the character, learning his powers, learning his capabilities, and so forth. I know some games don't like to do that, and I'm talking a lot here. So ultimately, I give it a 4.
Okay.
It's because it might not be my type of game, but there's just so much benefit to it. And I think that if you were to own one, he might disagree. If you were to own one Palladium book, most people probably say Rifts. I would actually say this one.